Okay, let's hope I can get this microphone to work. This is becoming a frequent trend at the beginning of these streams, isn't it? Where Swiss just needs to Oh, no, I sound like a fucking Dalek. What can we do? Hello? Oh, no. No, that's not any better. That's not any better. Uh-oh. Maybe now. Any better? No. No. Uh, dear. That's not good. I think I've stood on this thing one too many times. I'm just gonna have to do the microphone on the laptop, aren't I? Oh, oh, there we are. Hello. We're good. We're good. That's fine. Keep everything perfectly still. Nothing will go wrong. Am I still audible to all? There's the question. Sounds okay, says Lee. I'll take okay. I'll take okay then. That's fine. Gonna have to get a new headset. That's gonna have to be done. Yeah, I've got to do voodoo magic with this thing where I sort of twist it and tilt it in just the right way when it's plugged in, and then it's fine. But we've got rid of the Dalek for the time being, so that's good. Anyway, hello there, Lee, and hello there, dear viewers. This is a very impromptu, short little stream. This isn't the beginning of your main local election stream. This is, in fact, a little stream just for me to basically bounce my own thoughts off of you guys. I have here the council of the borough of North Tyneside mayoral election address booklet, and this contains information on all of my candidates because although it is 7:15 in the evening, I've not yet voted. So perhaps I can use this to help me to decide, rather than just going there and going, yeah, that person, that party, whatever. So consider this a little bit of bonus content, boys and girls. That if you've got any interest whatsoever in how Captain Swiss decides to vote in the mayoral race of North Tyneside, then there we are. And according to when the results are due to be coming in, North Tyneside mayor contest is actually supposed to be one of the first results we get. So we'll have a sense of continuity throughout the night, at the very least. So who do we have running in my area? Well, let's have a look. We have... Hang on. We had a list somewhere. Where's my list gone? This is terrible. Terrible quality content here. Does it not have a list? That's outrageous. Where's my... Oh, no, the list is here. It's just counterintuitively not on the page you thought it would be. Okay, so I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I have 7 mayoral candidates to choose from. We have John Christopher Appleby, a Liberal Democrat. We have Liam Adam Bones, of the local Conservatives. Not the Conservatives, not those Conservatives. No. This is the local Conservatives. We want to make a clear distinction. Thank goodness, because I wasn't going to vote for those bloody Tories. But the local Conservatives, well, we'll consider them maybe. Karen Ann Clark of the Labour Party, Kath Davis, an Independent, John Roy Falkenstein of Reform UK, Chloe Louise Riley, I want to say, Green Party, and Martin Henry Uren, Independent. So, okay, we've got 2 independents, and then basically your slate of all your main parties here. Apart from the Tories, because we've got the local Conservatives there instead. Lee Ball says, breaking Purdah rules. I mean, are we? This question arises basically every year when I do content on here. I'm not a national broadcaster or a journalist, really, am I? I'd probably have a little bit more prestige if I was. But I'm not reporting on anything that's actually happening today. I'm not giving you any news about what's happening in the election today. All I'm doing, in a sense, is going over information that's already been publicly available prior to the election. So I'm probably not doing anything too wrong here. Lee Hallam adds, they are just for local people, nothing for you here. That's right. I'm not even from round here. So how dare I try and influence dear old North Tyneside? All right then. So the first one we've got in here now. There's a lot going on with these, so I may not be reading like word for word everything here. But our first one here, we have Martin Henry Uren, the Independent, a new voice for North Tyneside, and there's a lot going on. There's a lot going on this little spread. It's got to be said. But you've got St. Mary's Lighthouse there, nice little local landmark, very nice. So I'm not going to read the whole thing out because it's going to take forever, but we're going to skim a little bit. His introduction. I have been a lifelong Labour supporter, but like many others, I'm tired of seeing no real progress and feeling taken for granted. Both Conservative and Labour politicians have too often put their own interests above the needs of the people, chasing headlines and feeding egos instead of delivering meaningful change. North Tyneside deserves so much better. I believe we need a long overdue change for the better, with new ideas and policies that improve the safety and well-being of our community, boost leisure and tourism revenue, and that's the thing from this area of Whitley Bay. It used to be a very popular holiday spot, especially back when people used to go to the seaside for their holidays rather than going for sort of cheap holidays abroad. Reduce congestion on our long neglected roads, and including no more cycle lanes without proper public consultation. I believe working hand in hand with residents and not dictating policy from an ivory tower. All right then. Okay, so it's opening pitch. Used to be a lifelong Labour supporter, no longer. And giving an outline of what. Well, okay. That gives an approximate area, I suppose. I mean, I was never a lifelong Labour supporter, but I have at times been a Labour supporter of different degrees of enthusiasm, shall we say. So I've got that in common, I suppose. All right, then. Let's do some bullet point lists. What are the general areas that we've got here? Cleaner air for everyone. Oh, I mean, who could disagree with that? I'll introduce a ventilation system in Howden to reduce pollution and improve air quality across North Tyneside. I don't live in Howden. Lower council tax. Labour broke its promise on freezing council tax while removing the winter fuel allowance. I'll fight to keep more money in your pocket. See, that sounds quite appealing, but also it does make me consider where are they going to get the money from to fund all the things that they want to be doing. Tynemouth. Oh, yeah, this is a big one. This won't mean anything to you lot. This means a lot to me. Tynemouth outdoor swimming pool revival. Right, basically, ever since I was a wee boy, because my parents have lived in not my parents, my grandparents have lived in Tynemouth for pretty much as long as I can remember. In Tynemouth, along near one of the beaches there is this sort of rundown ruin of what was once an outdoor swimming pool. And I'm told, allegedly, I don't know if it was the Victorian era or Edwardian or the 1950s. I don't know quite how far into history it stretches back, but this has been here in a sort of quite a derelict capacity for a very long time, no longer being maintained. And now it's got like a bunch of sand in the middle and some rocks and stuff like that. And the waves come and crash over the top. A bunch of the metal bars have been rusted away and all that kind of thing. But I remember going down to there when I was a kid because it was still a sturdy enough structure that you could, go onto it, made out of good solid concrete, and you could have a little closer look out over at the water. And anecdotally, adults would always tell you, oh, yes, this used to be an outdoor swimming pool. And you'd go, an outdoor swimming pool? And you just couldn't wrap your head around it, seeing it in its derelict nature. But I've always had a very soft spot for the idea of any sort of attempts to revive the Tynemouth outdoor swimming pool. I have read articles about that over the years, and there's constant efforts for people to try and get the funding and the political energy to do something about it. So this is the first one that's when we go, oh, okay. Tynemouth swimming pool, hello. Inspired by Dublin's Sea Pool, I'll lead a community-backed plan to redevelop the site in keeping with its 100-year heritage. Oh, so it has been around for a while. We'll seek national lottery funding, Invite tenders for solar-powered sea pools with heated outdoor jacuzzis. Very bourgeois. And create a solid business case. Show your support by answering the survey on the website. 20,000 yes voters will prove this project is driven by real community demand. Okay, then. Yeah. He's got my attention, shall we say, at the very least. Better metro system. I'll push for a more affordable fare system with a one-in, one-out gates to stop fare evasion, directing funds into safety and reliability. Let me do some comments from you, by the way. Lee Ball says, shock result, every candidate receives 12 votes. Lee Hallam says, younger viewers are now baffled. Lee, is this what are you quoting from? Because this sounds familiar to me, but I'm just not quite. I'm not quite getting it. Swiss votes for whoever stops the new road or the new cycle lane. Lee Hallam knows about the pool. Podge says, is this first past the post? Yeah, I think so. Mayoral, I think I only get one vote, so it must be first past the post. Lee Hallam, Bull even. Sorry, I'm mixing my Lees up today. In Brum, we have the Moseley Baths, Victorian and always in need of billions to restore the 19th century mosaics and stuff. In the Black Country, we just had the League of Gentlemen Swiss. Both of the Lees tell me that. Yeah, that was it. It was something about local. They are for local people. Nothing for you here. That was. Now that you've told me that, I remember it, but I wasn't certain before. Anyway, let's crack on here. I shouldn't be reading the whole thing because we've got plenty of other candidates to get through. So tackling traffic and congestion, crackdown on shoplifting, energy independence and lower bills, housing for locals, not landlords, keeping our communities safe, supporting local businesses. Well, I surely can agree with all of those things there. Okay, so Martin, our independent, former Labour supporter, parted ways with supporting the party, not a career politician, listed off lots of things he's done that aren't involved in politics. And amongst the usual, we want things to be nice, has also added in the Tynemouth outdoor swimming pool. So I've got to say, of all the candidates I've read so far, Martin's in the lead right now. So Martin, you've got my vote for the time being. Let's see who else we've got. All right, here we have Karen Clark, the Labour Party candidate. What have you got to say, Karen? I'm standing to be your next elected mayor because I want a better North Tyneside and a better place for my family and all the families and people of the borough. I was born and brought up in North Tyneside, raised my family here and my grandchildren and attended our local schools. Well, all right, you're getting some points there, Karen. You're a local. You better be a local. People don't vote for out-of-towners. As one erstwhile Stoke-on-Trent North candidate once found out. We are an average, hard-working family that wants the best for our... I am not a career politician. Well, hang on a minute. This is an election. And so far, none of our candidates are career politicians. Where are all the politicians in this election? I'm not a career politician, says Karen Clark of the Labour Party. I'm a wife, a mother, a grandparent, a local councillor. Hang on a minute, you're a councillor. Now, that may not be a career politician. I don't think you can make a living off of being a councillor per se. But you are somewhat established in the field of politics already. We can say that much at least. You've not yet successfully made politics into your career, maybe. Anyhow, perhaps I'm being slightly unfair. Building on the success of Norma Redfern, and I think that's our previous Labour mayor here. Oh, hang on a minute. Hang on. We've got an intervention from Lee. By the way, I this was meant to be a short stream. I think this thing's going to go on until bloody well 10 minutes before the main one's meant to start. Lee Ball says no mention of the bins so far. That's how they're funding the other stuff, by cutting the bins. I appreciate that, Lee. I'll be eagle-eyed for any mentions of the bins. Psycho Benz TV says you can make a living off of expenses if you know how to fiddle them enough. Well, that's the distinction, Ben. You see, she's not a career politician, so she hasn't learned how to fiddle them properly yet, unlike the career politicians. I have the experience and proven leadership qualities. Blah blah blah. Okay, right. So let's hear about policies and record. Karen has been a councillor for Long Benton and Benton area since 2015 and currently plays a leading role in Norma Redfern's cabinet. Okay, so she's been on the council for 10 years, and she's obviously got roles within the current council. She's experienced, the continuity candidate, if you will. Not a career politician, mind you, only a decade. 5 things Karen will do. She will make North Tyneside Council work for me, collaborate and work with local people. Oh, I'm not a local person. I'm being shut out of every door here. Collaborate and work with local people to ensure the council works for them and delivers the services they need. Regenerate our borough, continue the regeneration of villages and towns. Develop more good quality jobs. Build green, environmentally friendly borough, make North Tyneside better place for all ages. And there's a few bits and bobs along all of there. Yeah, I've got to say, I think I liked Martin Henry Ure and the Independent better so far. Lee Hallam has said she sounds very much like a career politician to me. Well, I will allow that comment to hang in the air, Lee, and the viewers can decide for themselves. Now, I've got to admit, I can't come into this and say that I had a totally open mind of who I was going to vote for. You know that there were probably some people more likely and less likely than others. It could have been possible. Maybe I would have voted for the Labour candidate, although I have had a strong sense of probably not wanting to vote for them in this election because of the general sense of the need to punish Keir Starmer and Rachel Reeves a little bit, as we do in our elections, don't we? I've not been blown away by this. This is, I mean, it doesn't have a time mouth pool regeneration, does it? I've got to say that much at the very least. I'm sorry, Karen Clark. I'm not sure if you've dislodged my my current vote for Martin Henry Ure and the Independent yet. Let's see who else we have. Okay, we are on to the Liberal Democrats, and of course, the Liberal Democrats are the party that I did actually vote for in the general election last year, although was very sort of schizophrenically torn about whether I viewed that as having been a good decision or not, whether it was in line with my values. But here we are, John Appleby. Oh, okay. Already we've got a very different style of presentation here. It's a bunch of different little boxes. And rather than the usual preamble, I'm so and so, blah blah blah. The first word here is experience? ? The elected mayor is responsible for a budget of 200 million and the interests of 210,000 people. Our last mayor was a head teacher, but what experience has this year's candidate had? Dr. John Appleby has managed a large university department with a budget of 15 million and 1,000 staff and students. He chairs the local okay. Is this my hang on. Lee Hallam says, "Oh no, not them, boo hiss." Podge says, unlike Kim Jong-un, not a career politician. Oh, points for you, Podge. And Psycho Ben's TV says, it wasn't in line with your values of never voting Lib Dem Swiss. Oh, we all grow up to be the things we despise the most in our youth, do we not? All right then. So John Appleby, he's a man with some experience. He's ran a university department. Environment. Is it really an emergency? North Tyneside is a great place to live. We all want a pleasant, safe, and healthy. Blah blah blah. We want. Okay, so just the green stuff. As I say, I'm not going to read this all out word for word because we're going to be here forever. But wants it to be a nice area, less traffic and pollution, more biodiversity, etc., etc. Lovely. Consult, don't insult. He plans to, when difficult decisions have to be made, it's vital we know what people think. Thank God, finally, a man speaking to me. He hasn't mentioned local people. No, just people. I'm a person. I've been a person all my life. Only the loudest voice. Too often, consultation means a hasty survey where only the loudest voices get heard or merely ask to agree to a single plan with no options. That's an insult to the public. Democracy means letting people decide, and that means everyone. Yes, Everyone, not just a few. No longer the tyranny of the locals. I will get a say. He's growing on me, this Lib Dem. It's got to be said. Democracy means letting people decide, and that means everyone, not just a few. I'd ensure that major decisions require a high level of responses from the public. Okay, then. John, there's some fun facts about John here. He's a busy bee. John chairs the Cedarwood Trust in North Shields, supporting, feeding, and encouraging local residents. We've been on TV, including in Finland. John uses a car club instead of owning a car. This is getting very Liberal Democrat. He says, as a person himself who does not own a car. I like this hire by the hour scheme as it saves money and hassles, saves parking space, and reduces the use of resources. See, I can't do it now. I can't do it. I want it to be really horrible and talk about muesli eating sandal wearers. But the problem is everything that I say will come back onto me because I myself also do not drive. So I'm going to remain silent. What a great thing he does, not driving. Well done, John. Value for money. North Tyneside is almost a one-party state. Oh, hang on a minute. Is that those career politicians we were talking about earlier? With almost all councillors from a single party, Labour Party. I'm sure they all mean well. But there's a real danger of a lack of scrutiny, especially important when money is so tight. Past governments have squeezed local finances very hard, and it doesn't look likely that things will improve for some time to come. Blah, 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 blah. Okay. All right, then. John Appleby. I think I liked you more than the Labour candidate. You had a little bit of personality in your little leaflet that I read out here. I'm impressed with the fact that you've been on TV in Finland. For the side of the prosecution, though, Lee Hallam says, "Do you want to vote for the sort of people who run universities?" Podge says, "Hire by the hour." Hey, look, we both work in education. Different ends of the timeline here. He's right at the very end. I'm right at the very beginning. But we're both men of education. We're both men of letters, men of learning. Swiss, do you dream of living in a low-quality home? Oh, every day. Lee Hallam says he sounds like a loony to me. Oh, now Lee, come now, Lee. We haven't got to the Greens yet. Behave. I like John Appleby more than the Labour candidate. Perhaps I still like the Independent more. I've still got a bit more of an itching to vote for the Independent. But Appleby, you're in my considerations. And I'm afraid that's not the case for the... hang on. Hold the phone, folks. A challenger has appeared. This could change everything. It's Liam Bones from the local Conservatives. Not the Tories, mind you. Keep that in mind. The local Conservatives. Here we are. Look at him. He's got bullet points. He's got ticks. He's a fresh-faced, clean-looking young man. Not a bearded bohemian such as myself. For 12 years, local Labour. Local Labour and local Conservatives. We're going fully local now. For 12 years, local Labour have run... this is he trying to shoot the fox of me making jokes about the local Conservatives the whole way through reading this, because now he's referred to Labour as local Labour, thus normalising the use of the word local before the name of the party. Liam. For 12 years, local Labour have run our estates into the ground. It's time for change. I grew up here and I live here with my family. True Conservative, if I ever heard one. I know the issues that matter because I see them every day too. As your mayor, I'll focus on fixing roads and pavements, tackling crime and antisocial behaviour, and properly regenerating our town centres. My plan is fully costed, and you can read it all on my manifesto website. I'll stand up for our pensioners, fighting back against Labour's cruel cuts to the winter fuel allowance by introducing a local winter fuel payment. Oh, okay. Local pensioners in our area were left in the cold this winter because of Keir Starmer's decision. I'm not standing to be the mayor for the luxuries or the pet projects. I'm the only candidate that's promised to get rid of the chauffeur-driven car on day one. A chauffeur-driven car. Oh, my goodness. I didn't know about the chauffeur-driven car. With your support this year, we can make this council work for us again. Okay. Interesting. Interesting. Talking about Labour's winter fuel payment cut and saying about a local fuel payment. That's because I was going to go. Okay, what are you going to do about it? And, okay, fair enough. He's got a proposal here. He has a real plan for change. This is our bullet point list, folks, from Liam Bones, the local Conservative. Fix our crumbling roads and pavements, tackle crime and antisocial behaviour, properly regenerate our town centres. You know what? Some of these feel like policies that I had in Stoke-on-Trent a few years back, actually. Local winter fuel support for pensioners. Bring back 24-hour A&E to Rake Lane. Restore Tynemouth outdoor pool. Oh dear. I've been thrown into a real dilemma now. He's okay, Liam Bones. Again, it pains me to say this about a Tory, even a local Tory, but I think I feel like I've got more out of what you've put here, at least than the Labour candidate. You've mentioned the Tynemouth pool. You've also mentioned at least one or two specific local policies, not just the general, we'll do your bins, we'll fix the potholes, blah, blah, blah. But you've mentioned the local hospital. You talked about a local winter fuel support for pensioners, which is, again, a particular, a particular policy I wouldn't necessarily hear everywhere else. And, of course, the Tynemouth outdoor pool. Okay. Does this therefore mean that I am now considering voting for the Tories on the basis of this? I'm not sure. I'm just not sure, Liam Bones. Oh, by the way, sorry, there's a little bit more here. P.S. This election is a choice between me and another Labour mayor. A vote for anyone else will let the same back in here and will have more of the same. I'm dubious about that. I feel like there's a little bit of the Lib Dems winning here about that. I can't say for sure. I really don't know, but I would suspect that the closest challenge to a Labour in this area is probably going to be Reform, given the way things are going in this particular election. All right, Liam Bones. Well, at the very least, you've impressed me more than I thought I would. What do we have next? We have Chloe Louise Riley from the Green Party. All right, then let's see what we've got going on over here. North Tyneside needs leadership that acts on behalf of people and our environment. Hang on. We've got some more comments to read here quickly. Liam Bones is a great name. I will personally patrol the streets at night dressed as Batman. Sir Richmond Alstonbed MP, I will restore closing most local services. Tory mayors have been all right compared to their national counterparts, says Podge. And Lee says, has he got a bar chart to prove it? Okay. Let's crack on. Chloe says, as mayor, I want a borough with increased equality and opportunities for everyone. I'll look at expanding local services through accessible hubs, targeting resources to those in need, and creating an economy that works for all. Well, I'm glad someone's finally going to do it. It's about time. I plan to establish a youth task force. I don't know. There's something about the phrase task force that I'm resistant to. I feel like I've heard about too many task forces in my time. Who's this, says Podge? This is the Green Party candidate that we've just started on here. Finding creative solutions, working with young people, finding creative solutions with them to the many challenges they face while ensure we have. I'm gonna skim a little bit, boys and girls. I'll push for a more ambitious net zero plan to reduce the borough's emissions faster, lower people's bills and enhance our green spaces, clean our river and protect our coast. I'm an advocate for bringing public meetings into local spaces to improve participation and donate 20% of the... Oh, this is tickling my populist bone a little bit now. And donate 20% of the mayor's salary to VODA, North Tyneside's local support and advocacy organisation for grassroots initiatives. That is an awful lot of words there describing that thing. But 20% of the mayor's salary. All right. See, it's always fun. Having been the person who once stood for election himself, and I remember some of the policies that I put out there, some of the talking points I had, etc. It's interesting reading material from other people when you clock particular things and you go, oh, okay, I see what you're doing there, because I'd offered to give up half of my salary if I'd been elected MP, and give it to local charities. How is that not bribery? Says Podge. Podge, how could you get on side? This is a tried and tested Captain Swiss electoral policy as well. Maybe Voda really needs that 20%. Chloe's vision for a green North Tyneside. Strengthen our foundations. I'll promote security with universal basic income. Oh! Can I refer the boys and girls to Podge's previous comment there? How is that not bribery? Oh, dearie me. Well, I'm having far more fun with this than I thought I was going to be. This is great. Universal basic income, boys and girls. Well, goodness me. Oh, all right. I got overexcited. A universal basic income pilot. It's a pilot. It's not going to be rolled out borough-wide next week, unfortunately. Expand council and affordable housing, introduce more skills and training for all ages, advocate for flexible working and a living wage campaign. All right, this is standard sort of left wing stuff right here. Take action on the climate. We've covered that one already. Protect and restore nature. I'll phase out the damaging weed killer. I shouldn't laugh. It's probably a serious thing. Glyphosate. I will phase out the damaging weed killer glyphosate. Restore biodiversity through better wildlife management. Plant more trees and start sustainable urban. I guess the thing is, if you're green, if you're a green, it will appear a little bit niche, won't it, to the non-greens. And improving democracy. I'll bring public meetings to local communities, hold citizen assemblies, and move a referendum to scrap and support a referendum to scrap the mayor and move to a more democratic committee system. I love this. I want to abolish my own position. Wonderful. All right. Well, you know what? You know what? You can't say that there isn't a difference between these candidates here. Some of them more similar than others, but at the very least, you can say, okay, donating 20% of your charity to Voda, universal basic income pilot. I mean, no one's mentioned the weed killer glyphosate yet. No one's done that. And scrapping the position of mayor herself as well. There's a lot going on here I'm not hearing from the others. I'll say that for her. Sadly, no mention of Tynemouth pool. No mention of Tynemouth outdoor pool. And that I feel like that is my passion project for this election. That is the thing that I'm really looking out for. What are they going to do about my precious outdoor pool? We'll read a few more of the comments here. Lee Hallam says she can't provide a universal basic income pilot just for her then. What is the budget? Can they offer that? These are all valid questions, Podge and Lee, which I do not have the answers to. That's Roundup. It kills the bees. Enticing is here. Good evening. Lee Hallam says, is that what they did in Brighton when the place got overrun with triffids? Podge says, she said she'll clean the river. You can swim there. Hey, look, I'd like a clean river. I'd like a clean... I mean, I assume that the sea is clean enough. It better be, because I have been known to swim in there from time to time already. All right then, the green candidate very clearly being a green candidate there. Who have we got next? Right, we're swinging all the way to the other end of the spectrum, folks. It's our Reform UK candidate from there. Here we are. Let's see what John Falkenstein has to say. A strong North Tyneside. Oh, there we go. Getting in that strong North Tyneside. My plan for real change. Our council tax has increased by 4.99%. We now pay £444 more per annum than councils in central London. I mean, the local council tax system is broken, isn't it? It's a silly thing. The council is more than 403 million in debt. I didn't know about this. Hang on, 403 million in debt, and the Tory candidate on the other page said that there were chauffeur-driven cars. This is outrageous. Bloody Labour. And we pay more than 50,000 of interest on that debt each day. Labour cannot manage our finances. It has cut the workforce by 5% and our services are in decline. It's time for a new approach. You know what? At the very least, even if these right-wing candidates maybe can't tempt me into voting for them, they're doing a fine job at explaining to me why I don't want to vote for Labour, at the very least. Okay, what are John's pledges? John's pledges are to review all capital and revenue expenditure and eliminate waste, to review all public sector contracts and ensure value for money and eliminate corruption, red tape, and incompetence. Oh, this is feeling a little bit Doge-esque. To scrap Labour's vanity project. Oh, hang on, what's a vanity project? No, actually, the outdoor pool is not a vanity project of Labour because Labour aren't doing it. It's a different kind of project. So create a culture where all staff are doing worthwhile jobs and where staff want to work to serve their communities. To stop all non-essential expenditure on net zero programs, which are driving up energy costs, council tax bills, and killing jobs. Oh dear. Well, now we're into a real point of conflict because the Green candidate just told me that they were going to do more net zero and that was going to reduce energy costs. And arguably most of the people in favour of it say it's going to create jobs. So just who do you believe on this sort of thing? My God, politics, man. To stop all non-essential. Oh no, we've done that one. To set up an employer-led skills board. Oh, that's another word I'm dubious about. Skills. Don't know why. Something about. I feel like well, I've anecdotally told you this plenty of times if you've watched the channel for a long time, but used to hear a lot about skills. And there was an especially sort of cringe poster that used to be up in my secondary school. Encouraging young people to get skills, but they spelt skills with a Z or a Z, if you prefer, on the end rather than an S. And I felt like I was being spoken down to by the misspelling skills to get down with the kids. He has spelt skills correctly, I will add, in fairness. To provide incentives to local businesses and to offer apprenticeships and training opportunities to our young people on a scale not seen before locally, and to ensure basic repairs to our roads are done quickly. There we go. Topped off on the roads there. I'm afraid, though, dear Lee Ball, if you're still listening, we've had no mention of the bins from anyone yet. Well, reform. I was wondering, and the answer is yes, they are. Whilst Reform UK supports equality in all that we do, we must stop the current obsession with identity, diversity, and equality that has pervaded council culture. It is a waste of officers' time, divisive, and has no direct bearing on the work of the council. About me, I've spent virtually all of my working life in North Tyneside, serving my community, includes setting up a number of welfare rights services, setting up training and apprenticeship programs for our young people, a former barrister and policy advisor to local authorities for the past 28 years. I've acted for local authorities and against them, including legal cases involving North Tyneside Council. All right, so another person who's got some experience at the very least within this field, and does not make the claim not to be a career politician either. Well, I suppose the best thing, probably the best argument in terms of him trying to appeal to me personally rather than the reform audience out there, was the opening passage about how much debt the council is in. And how Labour has mismanaged our finances. That probably spoke to me more than most of the rest of it, to be honest. But anyway, that is John Falkenstein. If you want to dogeify the council expenditure and de-woke the councillors, then he is your guy. Who have we got? We've got another independent here, and then that's it. That's the end. So our final candidate for today is Kath Davis, your independent, my independent candidate. Finally, I'm standing for change. I want to see residents take control of decision making in North Tyneside Council, focusing on community good rather than political gain. Party loyalty should not come before community interest. I want to see the current expensive and undemocratic mayoral system in North Tyneside abolished as soon as possible. Hey! Yes, we've got another turkey voting for Christmas here. We've got another person who wants to abolish the position of not. I'm loving this, by the way. I'm genuinely loving this because I actually do feel like there is a bit of variety on offer here. There's like a pick a mix of different policies that, depending on the candidate, these policies are being offered in slightly different combinations. That this independent and the Green want to scrap the position of North Tyneside mayor. We've had uh, the Independent, and I think was it also the Lib Dem and the Tory? Sorry, local Tory, wanting to restore Tynemouth outdoor pool. Hang on a minute. No, I don't. I don't think the Lib Dem did talk about the outdoor pool, did he? No, but one Independent and so you see what I'm saying? There's a little bit. This is in. I feel like I've got a decision to make here. I feel like I've actually got something to choose from. This is fun. This is democracy, boys and girls. I'll support a people's petition to force a referendum in order to scrap the mayoral position. I would like to see this process replaced with one where all elected councillors get to directly develop policy. The current party structure means councillors are told when and how they must vote. I believe North Tyneside would thrive from having more independent councillors owing their loyalty to their communities rather than party bosses. Tell it, yeah. I have been a local councillor for 12 years. I have okay. I'd read one person online before doing all of this, and it must have been Kath Davis, because I think she was a Labour councillor and then obviously left at some point to run as an independent. And this makes sense, I suppose, if her main pitch that she's talking about now is I believe in the independence of councillors and not doing things for the party line, blah, blah, blah. If she's burnt her bridges with the Labour Council for whatever reason, then it all kind of fits in together quite nicely, doesn't it? I have worked as a social worker, fostered children, and I'm currently a home carer. Oh, she's got a little bit of the Ed Davies about her. As a person who's works in care myself, any other prospective politician who also works in care, instantly I go, oh, I see you. I see you. I have also raised the issue of rising shoplifting with the chief constable. Then this became a higher priority for the police. So she's talking about a record here. Podge adds the point, both independents former Labour. Yes, you're right, Podge, aren't you? We've got a former Labour voter and a former Labour councillor as our two independents here, which probably makes sense in a way because this is a Labour voting area. Labour have dominated for a very long time, so probably a fair chunk of your independents would be dissatisfied former Labour people. All right. Being independent means being able to speak out. My manifesto will be your manifesto, taking up local issues. Again, when we talk about drawing parallels between one's own campaign years back and reading material from today, leaning on that independence. I'm not going to be tied down by party politics, having to vote a certain way. I will vote with my conscience in the interests of the people. Things that I've said in one combination of words or another. Kath Davis has supported the Cullercoats fishermen in the fight for a secure base. She has campaigned for care workers and personal assistants to be paid the same living wage as other authorities in the area. I have campaigned against the closure of Monk Seaton High School. Oh yeah, that's a thing. Probably won't mean much to you guys, but that's the thing. If elected, I will hold quarterly area blah 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 blah. With a lot of this is now, the jargon, the wealth and opportunity and community and local and businesses and sustaining and local economy and blah de blah. Oh, can we afford a mayor? Can we? This is she's again tickling the populist bone just a little bit. This government's actions so far have included many policies that attack the most vulnerable in our society. Can we afford a mayor who won't challenge the Westminster machine? The Westminster machine. It's time to bring it down. Let's start by changing locally and sending a message to the major parties that we want a council that represents us and not Westminster. All right then. Those are all of my candidates. Lee Hallam says, has she got any policies other than abolishing herself? Will she abolish herself immediately? We got some policies. We got a few bits. Lee Ball says, surprised none of them have gone for the stand up to Trump stroke effects of the tariffs on the local economy line. I know, not even the Lib Dem. Enticing says, did you consider running for the local council? Well, I mean, it's something that I've thought about. I always think about the prospect of running in elections. But I think the view that I've came to generally since moving up here is that I'm not that I lived in Stoke-on-Trent for an amazingly long amount of time, mind you, but I feel as if that I'm fairly fresh to this area. I mean, I've lived here a couple of years now. But I certainly wasn't going to come along and suddenly go, right, it's me, everyone. I'm going to stand for election again and vote for me. I'm in a brand new place, but I know how to solve all your problems once again. No, I think I'm quite happy just being a voter at the moment, but I certainly wouldn't ever rule out running in an election again. But this year in particular, we don't actually have local council elections. This is just for the mayor in our area. So it's crunch time then. Having looked at everybody, how do I feel that I'm going to vote? Let's have a final little recap of the candidates just to refresh my memory. We had Martin Uren, the Independent, who was our first person to mention my single issue vote of the Tynemouth outdoor swimming pool revival. And he was the one who was a lifelong Labour supporter, but like many others, has been tired of seeing no progress. We had Karen Clark, the Labour Party candidate, which generally I probably was the least interesting of all of the ones I read. I'm afraid it was very sort of cookie cutter. Well, I mean, I suppose the one that I disliked the most was probably the Reform one, but this one was nothing. You're painting me a picture with beige, Karen. Although that is Keir Starmer's Labour Party, I suppose. The Lib Dem one, it had a bit. We had a bit of personality here. Talking about a one-party state with a bunch of Labour people. Oh yeah, he was my fellow non-car user, wasn't he? All right, yeah. John Appleby was a bit of fun. Liam Bones from the local Conservatives. Like I say, I think there was more to this one than I probably would have unfairly said that the Tories would bring to the table here. He actually had some a few locally targeted policies. It was him who spoke about the Tynemouth outdoor pool as well, not the Liberal Democrats. So credit to you there, Liam Bones. Let's just say quickly, Psycho Ben says, a serious chat now. Are you genuinely wanting the pool reopening, or is this a skit? Genuinely, I do. Genuinely, I do. I don't. Well, I know that I don't think about it anywhere near as often as my enthusiasm for it in this particular stream right now seems to indicate. You'd probably think I think of nothing else than the reopening of the outdoor Tynemouth pool. But genuinely, yeah, I've always thought something should be done with that, and it's massive wasted potential. And there are lots of locals who do want something done with it. So it does speak to me when people are talking about that particular proposal, because it feels sort of tangible. It's not just, I will fix the roads, I will make the council more efficient, I will blah, blah, because they all say that. But if they're talking about bringing back the outdoor pool, that's the thing that I can go and look at. That's a real thing. It's so easy to win my vote, isn't it? We had the Green Party candidate, who was solidly green, wanted to abolish their own position, and certainly not the first. Wanted a universal basic income pilot. And to be fair, I am sympathetic to a universal basic income pilot. In my dream of a real, proper social democratic government, I wouldn't mind them doing some UBI pilots around the place. That'd be nice. But anyway, sorry, I'm getting all misty-eyed thinking about a world that will never arrive, sadly. But yeah, she also wanted to phase out the weed killer glyphosate. There we are. I got there in the end. Okay, yeah, we knew about that one. Yeah, John Falkenstein, making big points about the state of the finances of the council, wanting to increase efficiency, get rid of woke. Had quite a few credentials as far as some of his previous experience here. And we had Kath Davis, the independent, former Labour councillor, turned independent, talking about the local Monkseaton High School. No mention of the outdoor pool, I'm afraid. But she, yeah, not much more to say on that one, I suppose. Right, we'll look at a few of your comments, and then I'll deliberate. Let me ask you, folks, of all of those that you've heard about so far, if you lived in my area, who would you be voting for? Now, of course, not all of you can appreciate the need for the Tynemouth outdoor pool. Not all of you have seen the derelict state of the former iteration. I understand that, but you need to really try, use your imaginations, and imagine how you'd vote across a variety of issues, including also the outdoor pool. And I'll take a few more. I'll take a few more comments quickly. Wow, this has come to 1 hour, 1 hour in length. Well, you know what? At least you are all extensively educated now about the mayoral race for North Tyneside. So when we get that result in about 6 hours, yes, then you're all going to have a stake in how it ends up. You're all going to care, which is good. All right then. Lee Hallam says, for other men, it's ancient Rome that they think of 5 times a day. For you, it's all about the pool. Well, hey, look, if we can stick some little mosaics at the bottom of it, then 2 birds, 1 stone, am I right? Lee Ball says, reform Barney going on. Claire King says, I would vote Lib Dem. I'm shocked by that. Lee Hallam says he'd vote for Liam Bones on what he said, or the first independent. Psycho Benz TV says the first independent, probably Martin. Lee Ball says, I'm a fan of Bones, I must admit. Do we know anything on the expected results, says Lee Hallam. So as far as tonight goes, I think we are supposed to be getting 3 or 4 mayoral contest results and the by-election result also. I don't think we're supposed to be getting like full council declarations until pretty well into Friday. So it is going to be a local elections of 2 halves, really. We'll do some coverage tonight, and we'll at the very least tonight we want to get that by-election result. So we'll stay up tonight and we'll get the by-election result plus whatever else comes out by then. And then tomorrow we'll come back again once we start getting the bulk of all these council results as well. So that's how things are shaping up there. And Shockwave says, I would spoil the ballots if I could vote. Well, that's always an option as well. Lee Hallam says, who do you think will win in North Tyneside? I think my default expectation is probably the Labour candidate, because the Labour are the incumbents around here. And I think, having glanced at other people's predictions of how some of these contests are going to go, other people seem to be putting Labour in. If you'd said to me who would be the most likely challenger to Labour here, I would have guessed Reform, just because we're in a situation right now where Reform's doing very well for themselves. Although, having read the booklet in particular, actually the Tory candidate was more impressive than I thought. So maybe it'd be them, but I'd imagine in that case, I'm leaning that Labour end up holding it, and the realistic challengers to them are probably going to be the Tories or Reform. That's what I'll say for that one. But I'm not going to allow that to influence my votes. Not this time. Maybe. We'll see. I'm deliberating. Psycho Ben says, any idea what time your stream tomorrow will be? Short answer, no. But it won't be in the morning. I'll put it that way. It'll probably be in the afternoon. Let's say early mid afternoon. Expect me to be back around about that time at some point. Swiss independent form of reform is the only choice. Says how low can you go? Independent reform will implement net zero mass immigration, says enticing. And Lee Hallam says that's the one I've heard least about. Claire says psycho it will be when Swiss wakes up. Ah, there we are. Bingo. And Shockwave says, at a GE, I might as well vote Labour. Every other party is not serious, and keeping the incumbent would be least chaotic. All right, then. So, folks, I've given you a rundown of the candidates here. Some of you have indicated to me who you would be voting for were you to live in my area. So I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm fortunate enough to live literally opposite the school where the voting takes place. It's going to take me all of about 2 minutes to leave the house and go cast my ballot, although I need to dig out my passport first. I'm not going to tell you who I'm going to vote for, in part because in my mind, I think I'm still deciding. And sometimes it's the pressure of being there with the actual sheet of paper in front of you that finally gets you to decide. But what I'd like you to do, guys, is as I wrap this stream up, I would like you to comment on the video, comment on the stream once it's finished with who you think I will vote for. Put your predictions out there if you like. And I'm not going to read it. I'm not going to allow that to influence me at all. I'm going to go and do my vote now. But it will be interesting to see if any of you guys predict correctly who I end up going for when even I haven't yet decided who I'm going for. But there we are. So there we are. That's a very enticing way to say to you folks, come back in about an hour or two when we start our proper local election stream to find out who Swiss voted for in the North Tyneside mayoral election contest. And of course, then we'll also be doing a rundown of the other contests and areas up for election today. And then we will start the long wait for results. That'll take some time. Probably the later I start the stream, the better, actually. Anyhow, thanks very much for joining me, folks. I will see you all again very soon. And if you do have elections in your area and you've not yet voted, well, we'll get out there and do it. There we are. Catch you all later.